Now, the countdown to the shutdown has begun as organized labor has declared a nationwide strike to begin in just 8 days from now. This decision comes after the government failed to meet their demands regarding illegal mining, or we call galamsey here in the Republic of Ghana. The strike announcement follows an earlier press statement on September 11, where labor laid out serious concerns about the environmental and health impacts of illegal mining. They demanded immediate action from the government of the Republic of Ghana, including a declaration of a state of emergency, halting all mining in forest reserves and near water bodies, and establishing a special court to prosecute those involved. Later, I'll be telling you what the Attorney General has been saying about the prosecution of those involved. Now, with the deadline approaching and their demands unmet, Labour yesterday escalated to calling for a nationwide stoppage. This leaves Ghana facing a potential economic shutdown in just over a week. Tonight on UPFront, we explore the far-reaching implications of this strike, from its impact on the daily life of Ghanaians to the broader economic and political consequences involved here. We also analyze government's options now, the public's reactions, and also what this means for the ongoing battle against illegal mining in the Republic of Ghana. Joining me for this seminar conversation is Labour expert and former minister in that employment ministry, a ministry who have very little time and less than a week to make sure that they intervene and get the right things happening when it comes to the front of Labour. Austin Game, sir, you're welcome to UPFront.
Thank you.
Now, also joining us tonight is a man who understands governance from all perspectives, a former UN senior governance expert, Professor Bafo Ajimandia. We will start the conversation after this break. You're welcome back. Now, we'll be exploring the far-reaching implications of this strike called by organized labor, from its impact on the daily life for Ghanaians to the broader economic and political consequences. We'll also analyze the government's options now, the public's reaction, and what this means for the ongoing battle against illegal mining in the Republic of Ghana. Let's not get it wrong. One of the demands of labor was that there should have been specialized courts to deal with illegal mining. Today, the Attorney General in the People's Republic of Ghana has been speaking, insisting that the Chief Justice should show interest in making sure that judges attach some seriousness to the matters of illegal mining prosecution. That conversation is also on the table. But I did say that a former employment minister and labor experts, I mean, there are a few of them who qualify by that title in the Republic of Ghana. Mr. Austin Game is in studio with me. Joining us now is Professor Bafo Ajimandia. Prof, you're also welcome, sir. I hope you are doing well this day. Brilliant, brilliant. I will tell you later on a story about the age difference between the men in our studios, but not for now. That's been a conversation during the break. Let's start off with whether or not the decision to call a strike. Indeed, they threatened there will be a series of protests culminating in a strike, but they called a strike with an effective date, which is 10 days away. Let me start with you, Mr. Game. Was it a step in the right direction?
I think so. I think they've done exceptionally well. They've exercised a lot of patience and restraint in the face of this kind of provocation. I say provocation because we should not have gotten here. If people are compelled to drink poisonous water and their life is being cut short, obviously what it is that we should have been proactive as an organized labor or as a government or as a people. We should have been very angry and doing what we should do to stop this kind of canker. Unfortunately, we all went to sleep, but thank God organized labor came to our rescue. So I think that's important. They've done what they've done, and it's up to all of us to give them the support they deserve.
Prof, you agree?
Very much so, very much so. You know, organized labor is championing this, but they are not alone. It cuts across the board. You've seen how civil society groups are already on the streets and agitating. Yeah. And I cannot recall in recent times an issue unifying Ghanaians, the way Galamsey seemed to have brought all Ghanaians together, irrespective of political parties, profession, status. Everybody is concerned. The only small group that don't seem to be so concerned is the government of Nana Akufo-Addo. Of course, I'm aware that they say they've set up a commission or something like that to look at it. An ad hoc
committee of ministers.
Always is an ad hoc committee, and they do it, and it blows in their faces. They did once interministerial committee, and it blew in their faces. And now, like you also alluded to, now we are beginning to realize that the whole justice system itself is failing us in terms of taking up these cases to prosecute the way they ought to have been prosecuted. So I think there's a problem at the elite leadership of the country. If, in fact, the executive is failing us, and we are being told this evening that the justice system is also internally divided over who should take the lead and why the delays, then I'm afraid there's a serious issue confronting the nation. Serious issue. So I don't know whether it's because of this Galamsey issue that is creating this difficulty, but certainly any Ghanaian who wants to sleep and sleep without thinking about Galamsey might be in a different planet.
Okay.
This is a serious matter.
Now, this strike they called, some say it's something that is done when all ends have failed, and that maybe a couple of the other threats or perhaps indications to government would have helped out before officially calling a strike in 10 days, which can actually shut down the entire republic. Did they act too quickly?
I don't think so, because this matter did not just start. It just didn't start. It was going on under the previous government of John Mahama. And you recall that during the campaign of 2020, was it 2020 or 2016, I should say?
Yeah, 2016.
Yes. One of the mantra of the opposition then, that is now in power, was to say that, look, when we come, we'll deal with this issue that the Mahama administration has been toying with. And in a way, that could have been one of the reasons that they won that election in such a big fashion. First time a party won with almost
a very
million,
huge mandate.
Yes, huge mandate. Now you've come, and the promises you gave, of course, let's credit the government. It did try to take some actions.
Yeah, in the initial stages.
Precisely. We remember the period where big machinery was being confiscated and burnt and all. Those were attempts. But unfortunately, those attempts did not register any difference in terms of, in fact, now as we speak, many people believe that Galamsey has even gone to the highest level we have ever seen. You know. So I think the government should have responded accordingly by upping the ante. If they are really going up there, then the government should have policies to deal with it. But the fact that over the past year or so, there seems to have been a relapse in the government approach to it in itself has been the main contention of those who are so concerned about this. And I think leadership is failing in this particular fight. This is not a party fight. It's not a labor fight. It's a Ghana fight, because the implications of this menace is serious for all Ghanaians, irrespective of where you live.
If you speak to senior government people, part of the problem they have with this strike and the timing of it, and even the conversation about illegal mining, is the belief is timing, and that this is barely 2 months to an election, and that this is a make or break election, and that when you throw in issues like that, it's likely going to distract or affect the outcome of this particular election. So perhaps we should put the brakes on this until at such a time that there isn't an election to be fought. Mr. Game, is this a legitimate interjection? Because I've heard them say so, and I've heard them say that even their own party members chase them when they try to act. The Minister for Lands and Natural Resources has made this point before, because they feel any attempt to crack down part of the demands of the organized labor will certainly lead to electoral consequences.
Let it be. And let me read something under Article 36, subclause 9. This is the 1992 Constitution. It says, the state shall not discretional, take appropriate measures needed to protect and safeguard the national environment for posterity, and shall seek cooperation with other states and bodies for purposes of protecting the wider international environment for mankind. This is very far-reaching. Our own 1992 Constitution. So clearly what it is this. If you take all our nationals, Ghanaians and non-Ghanaians, so long as you live in Ghana, staying in Accra West, from Kaneshie to Weja, Dansoman, and the rest, those who feed on the Weja Dam by way of water, they are virtually drinking poison on a daily basis. Why? Because the Dinsu and the Brim River are feeding now the Weja Dam with this poison of mercury and cyanide. And the point is that no matter how you try to filter the water, this thing lives in the water. And so we are harming ourselves. And we all know that our doctors are doing their best, our health workers are doing their best, but their best need to be supported by the appropriate machinery, equipment, and tools, and medicine. And they cannot go there. And now here are people suffering from dialysis. People are suffering. And this thing didn't begin, like you rightly said, today. I recall 2015, thereabout, when Mahama was campaigning and went to Eastern Region and came to Accra and said, Eastern Region appears to be becoming the capital of illegal mining. He was nearly roasted by we, the same people in Ghana here. And like he rightly said, that contributed to the massive loss he went through. Let's put that dirty politics aside. Yeah. The reality is that we are confronted with a situation and we are here bemoaning and lamenting. Yeah. Why should we lament? The point is that this thing didn't begin yesterday, but it has worsened now. And dare anybody, may I repeat it, dare anybody, because we are not at the mercy of president. We are not at the mercy of anybody in a party politics. We don't care about that. Let election be held tomorrow morning. Let's advance the election forward and hold it tomorrow morning, if that's what they want. Let's call emergency meeting in Parliament and let's hold the election tomorrow morning. Galamsey must be stopped, and must be stopped immediately. Organized labor have been very charitable.
Really?
By giving 7 days.
Yeah.
Because between now and 7 days, those who will be drinking the poison, do it. That's the point. So we should be very, very careful, and dare anybody after this program or any other subsequent program anywhere. I was born in Gold Coast. I don't want anybody to belittle my intelligence. What is about this? There's Galamsey creating problem for us. Can't we see?
Could you have avoided this coming to the declaration of a strike? Because they gave the directive on September 11 and gave the government the end of the month.
That is why both in the Constitution and in the Labour Act, there is the word we call proactivity.
Okay.
We should have been proactive. Mm-hmm. And my namesake, the president, His Excellency, Nana Akufo-Addo. My middle name is Akufo-Addo. He has taken it as it's my friend. Let me tell you that he is capable of stopping it. If he's not capable of stopping it, we'll help him stop it. Period.
Or could he have done so within the 11th and the 30th of September?
He does not need more than 3 days.
Okay.
It's about making a definitive pronouncement with immediate effect. He has banned Galamsey before. Mm-hmm. So with immediate effect, Galamsey is banned. And the reason is what we are seeing on the screen.
Okay.
And that we want a restoration of the ecosystem, our water bodies, our forest, so that after maybe 3, 4, 5 years, we would get together and see how best, in between this period, whoever is in government, we see how best we can assist our people who are doing this mining to do it in such a sensible way that will not create this trouble for us again.
Prof, the demands that were made by organized labor, some say there were not demands that were likely to be met with dispatch within the period that they demanded. For example, they asked for an immediate declaration of state of emergency in line with the provisions of 1992 Constitution, Article 31 and 31(4). The declaration must incorporate the following. So they defined the spectrum of that particular declaration. Exactly. And says, an order to halt all forms of mining, be it legal or illegal, in forest reserves and around water bodies. So this is where they wanted the state of emergency to actually cover. Then 2, an immediate evacuation of all mining equipment in forest reserves and around water bodies. And C, the deployment of the police and the military with full orders to remove or destroy all mining equipment and other earth-moving equipment around river bodies and in the forest. 2, the immediate revocation of LI 2462. And those who do not know this LI, this allows for mining in forest areas. Yes, anyway. And withdrawal of all licenses that have been granted for prospecting and mining in forest and protected reserves and also around water bodies. And they ask for the establishment of a special court to prosecute the perpetrators of the horrible crime. Were these attainable within the period that organized labor gave the president? In fact, this was a direct letter to the president, not even to the ministry or even cabinet or any other grouping, directly to the executive lead.
Very good question. Certainly, it would take a little time for the president to meet all the demands. But you know what? Wars break out when protagonists fail to reason. Okay? If people refuse to reason with each other, that's when war breaks out. So if they have brought these proposals or demands, as you put them, and there is some reasons why all of them cannot be effected right away, and engage each other, they will reason out. I, sitting here listening to these demands, I know some can be effected in a very short while. Others may have to take a little time. Because, for instance, if you are entered into agreement with somebody to mine, there are certain clauses in the contract that if you breach, you know what they call judgment debts and all. We know all that. So you can sort them out. But there are some that can be effected immediately. The idea of...
Their difficulty was that even in meetings with ministers, the ad hoc committee, there appeared to be very little commitment to do any of this.
Because that's why I mentioned the issue of leadership. If the leader of the country, because unfortunately in our country, it's a centralized system. Everything begins and ends with the president, which I'm vehemently opposed to. We need to decentralize. If I want to listen a bit to the previous discussions on the Chief Justice and the Attorney General fighting over, look, playing ball with the lives of people, all because what? We have a centralized system. Attorney General in Accra has to get a docket from the remotest place in this country to make determination before prosecutors in the district can do so. Why do you centralize power like that? Can't Galamsey criminals, wherever they are, can they be prosecuted in local magistrates? Why not? Is it not the same law? No. Why has the docket have to travel all the way to Accra for Attorney General to say, yes, go on and prosecute? That is part of the problem. Everything is centralized. That's why we don't move as a nation. So in this case, I'm saying that some of the demands could be met. Others may be not. But the first one about declaration of a state of emergency, yes, it's in the Constitution, but the implications of that declaration is too much for now, because that will mean that certain measures will have to be taken, including curfews and all, which may prevent innocent citizens from going about their business.
Even in the targeted areas?
How do you target a small area as once it's a declaration of emergency, it has to go to Parliament, okay? But I'm told by my military friends that that's what they call declaration of security zones. That one is an executive decision in consultation with the national security. If that is made, the soldiers can immediately move to those areas and secure them.
Okay.
Security zone. So you don't need to go through all the problems of declaring a state of emergency. So I'm saying that.
That's exactly what he said earlier. The president knows this.
Yes.
He's aware of this.
That's right.
National security is aware of this.
Yeah.
Invite the people who are making these
Demands, yeah.
Sit with them, have a conversation. Right. Don't take position.
Yes.
For them to take, now they've taken position. You've also taken position. So where do we go? Yeah. So they should have invited the people to a meeting and say, look, we cannot declare a state of emergency under the manner in which you want us to do it. We'll zone it.
Yes.
And that this is the way we want to do it. We need your cooperation. Look, we are not just being affected here. Côte d'Ivoire can sue Ghana for polluting their water. Look, we should be very careful. We are misbehaving too much. We are misbehaving too much. Yes. Are we the only nation under the sun? Ghanaians, we behave as if we everything in this world.
Has raised the concern that they, mindful of the fact that the threat is coming from Ghana, could equally take action against us.
Of course.
So that we do not poison their water body, even though there's no war. Even in war times, you are not allowed to do so.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We have even poisoned the sea. Mm-hmm. What is this?
We are talking about what should have been the reaction. But now, what should be the reaction? Now, we understand Labour Commission is demanding a meeting with Labour, as in the organized Labour. Secondly, there is also the belief that since this is almost very close to an election, try and get other Labour unions to detach and continue with the work, even if organized Labour has actually declared the strike. From your Labour perspective, are these, although it could be other forms of tactics, prudent ways of reacting now?
Well, I'm a mediator, so I don't even use the word reaction. Mm-hmm. That's a very dangerous thing for them to venture into. I guarantee you, first of all, the National Labour Commission has no locus in this matter.
Okay.
It's not that organized labor is asking for a 15 cedis adjustment on top of their pay. Sure. Mm-hmm. They are not asking for anything special. It is life and death matter. Look, we are either ignorant or we don't know, or maybe some illiterate literates are hanging around. My brother, if you deliberately kill yourself, you have self-murdered yourself. Mm. Hell is waiting for you to start with.
Suicide.
And therefore, we should be very wise. I wonder who are the people living in this country until Labour is shouting. Everybody should get involved. One, there must be a ban immediately. And the president is the only one who should announce it. If you will lose election, you will lose election. It's not going to be about this. If you will lose election, you will lose election. If you will win election, you will win election. So people should stop bringing election into this matter. It has nothing to do with election whatsoever. It's about life and death of the citizenry of Ghana. It's about poisoning our bodies. Now, I'm aware, and I've heard it. It was on other networks also. Even in Accra here, vegetables being harvested they found mercury in them now in Accra here. Water finds its level. It goes down, travels. And so we are harvesting these things and we are eating.
And even for the ones that we are preparing for export.
Well, let me tell you. And brother, the truth is that where we've gotten to, nothing can save the government other than taking immediate step to respond positively to labor. This divide and rule tactics is an old Russian idea. It won't work today, it won't work tomorrow.
You break that front so that there is no effective strike on the ground.
You know what will happen?
That's politically feasible.
That is suicidal for the government. I guarantee you. That's their end. Then that's their end. They shouldn't even go for the election. They should stop it.
Really?
If that's what they want.
But if there's no massive shutdown, then we are continuing life as usual.
Let me tell you, there will be a shutdown. I've seen the kind of divide and rule tactics going on now. Because when I was coming here, other stations called me and they were telling me, reading to me, secular being, run about in town that some other people have broken away from the unions and are also saying that they did not consult them. is all organized. We should stop that. We are no children. I'm very old. All I want to say is that we should, like he rightly said it, and I agree with him, the president has the capacity to invite the unions, to organize labor, to a meeting, and tell them, look, what you said, I've heard it. I may not be able to do all under the circumstance. I can do A, B, C, D. Give me opportunity. In fact, maybe this should be a lesson for us. Maybe we should ensure that we have a proper transitional arrangement going forward in the future, so that when a government is about 3 months going out, the transitional arrangement should be triggered so that certain buffer zones could be created to handle things, because he cannot do it. He's thinking about his people, and he's not alone. Mind you, he belongs to a party. So I appreciate the difficulties they have, but that appreciation is too limited because it's about majority of the people about to die. And we may not die immediately. We'll die some 3 years, 4 years when he is not there. You understand?
I get you.
We should stop playing the buffoonery. It's as simple as that.
This point about, Prof, of course, I mean, this is also a political season. So politicians will have to make decisions. Breaking the front of labor so that there's no effective strike on the ground. Is it a feasible plan? Even if it sounds a bit, you use Russian tactics, but I mean, if it sounds a bit problematic, is it a feasible plan? Mindful of the fact that government believes that the solution being proposed is far from what they can do. If you recall, when these solutions were proposed, the minister himself, his deputy, they were the first to react and say, it's not possible to do a blanket ban. It's not possible. They talked about the economic impact. They talked about the workers in those areas, almost as if they were representatives of those groups.
Well, that tells you that it is the mindset of the leadership. See, they are simply narrating what their leader perhaps wants. And that's what the danger is. I can be a realist as a politician, because all politics is about winning power. We can understand and appreciate that. So the difficulty you mentioned, true. But you see, as a leader of a nation facing this kind of monumental crisis, even if you want to satisfy your party, there's a way to communicate, not just to your party, but to the people about this, showing concern. If you have only 3 months to go, and therefore you can't do much, within the 3 months, at least you can demonstrate certain sympathy, if not empathy, with the issue. But in this case, it's like stone deaf. We say that? It's completely mute. And that is even, for me, more worrying than anything else. When I expect my leader to stand up as a leader, to let me hear from him what he thinks about something that the whole nation seem to be in arms about. That's why I began by saying this is not an issue for labor.
Not at all.
It's a national issue. You have been highlighting the health effects, but mind you, there's serious environmental effects. Can we live in a country without water bodies?
Yes.
Can we live in a country without forests? And even the white people who ruled us had the sense to decide that certain areas should be reserved for posterity. The white folks, that we come in and we pass an LI law or wherever, saying, no, we can go in and destroy the forest and dig for gold. If our ancestors had done that, will we be here today? So I think there's certain commonsensical issues about this that I expect highly educated, quote unquote, people ruling us to know and do something about.
Even if they are blinded by politics?
Look, if you allow yourself to be blinded by politics for the sake of a parochial interest, then I'm afraid you are not my leader. You cannot be my leader. When you are elected as president, and whoever is elected in December must know that the whole country elected you. And you are there to save the interest of the nation, not of political parties. it's difficult in here for leaders to detach themselves on certain matters from politics. You see, we are not here eating politics. If politics were to fail us, I'm sure the politicians, I guess they are full, and most people are empty, isn't it? Hungry.
Interesting.
You know.
Yeah.
So I'm saying that this issue is not parochial. It's a national issue. And we cannot afford as a nation to destroy our river bodies, to destroy our forests, create health hazards for the people, kill the fishes in the rivers. I can go on and on. And that is a national issue. Do you know that globally, analysts are predicting that within the next few decades, water will be the source of international conflict. Do you know that?
Yeah.
Good.
It's almost.
And the little we have,
You can't preserve
you can't preserve and protect it. I know today some people import water from France to eat at their tables.
That's true.
Which is a shame. It's just like some group of Ghanaians, when they are sick, they are flown to outside.
Finding external solutions.
Exactly, to do external solution. There's a long story about the upsurge of Pajeros in your time, when you were PNDC or something like that. That has now progressed to four-wheel, what do you call them, Land Cruisers. Ghanaian roads, when they are getting bad, and the badness comes from our managers of the roads and the leaders, they find a solution for themselves. So in those years, they went into Pajeros, which could withstand the potholes, isn't it?
Maybe.
Today, as I speak, the answer to the potholes and the slowness on the road is Land Cruisers.
Yes, and V8s.
And V8s, yeah, V8 Land Cruisers. So they are always finding solutions for them. And then recently, parliamentarians were even proposing that should all be given sirens so that they can
go faster
and overcome. Exactly. But those of us who are not parliamentarians, we could just be on the road, on the street for 2 hours. You see, so I think our leadership should be thinking more in terms of how we solve our national problems rather than solving parochial problems.
Mr. Game, is there a solution to labor today if it doesn't want its front broken? Because we still have 8 days to that, what they call a strike they have declared. If it doesn't want its front broken today, is there a solution?
I can guarantee you the front cannot be broken. An attempt may be made. It can never and will never be broken. I guarantee you that. I've lived in that. I'm a unionist.
But they are
myself.
human beings. I mean, yeah,
It
people get influenced all the time.
I have my unionist from shop steward to national level before going into HR and going to parliament and getting to ministry. It cannot be broken. Only government can, under certificate of agency, say that we are banning organized labor because it's creating problem, but that will lead to problem.
That will not, yeah.
That led to Achampon's coup. For your information, that led to Achampon's coup. It was attempted before in 1969-70 under certificate of agency. TUC was destroyed.
Wow.
And I guarantee you, any attempt in this modern time to get some few 10 people to write something and it will not work today, it won't work tomorrow. Because like he rightly said, this issue of Galamsey, unfortunately, is no longer about labor. It's national in character, even international. So therefore, it is not something, in fact, I was telling my friends that, can I get any other water to buy other than buying even the one that is being produced by bottled water in Ghana? I was asking, because I am scared.
Yes, and people are looking for the alternatives anyway.
So anybody who thinks that is about Professor Ajimandria, is about Austin Game, is about Raymond, the person should go and fall into the sea and die now. We will speak about it today, we'll speak about it tomorrow. I will support organized labor. And I declare it here and now. I support them. I am an employer myself. I have workers. If my workers want to join the thing, they should go. Period.
Now, the latest development is what I should bring to your attention, because there is a planned demonstration tomorrow. And this planned demonstration has a response from the police. The police, in a statement I should be reading to you now, says the Ghana Police Service on the 26th of September 2024 received notice from a group known as Concerned Citizens Against Galamsey of a planned protest by way of a procession from Oponglo, Legon, to the Independence Square in Accra. This is every single day from the 3rd, tomorrow, till 5th. From 3rd till 5th. After an engagement with the organizers, the agreed routes for the demonstration shall begin from Oponglo near the University of Ghana Sports Stadium as their converging point through the Oponglo traffic light towards Shasi, the Standards Authority traffic light through Shangri-La to Airport traffic light, and turn right to Association International School through the National Service Secretariat, merge onto Kaukudi traffic intersection through Kanda Highway to Accra High School Junction, through the Electoral Commission Office, to the Ridge Hospital, and through the AU roundabout to the Parliament House. Then they'll go through Osu Cemetery and finally end up at the Accra Sports Stadium car park. During the engagement with the police, the police reminded the organizers of their responsibilities under the Public Order Act, which includes being held liable for any damage caused to any public property during the demonstration. Any person taking part in the demonstration shall obey the directions of the police, safeguarding the proper movement of persons and also vehicles, and generally maintain order. And any other person taking part in a special event shall conduct themselves in a manner as to avoid causing obstruction traffic or anything related to that. Now, the statement also says in paragraph 4, additionally, the organizers were also reminded of police responsibilities under the Public Act, which include taking all such steps reasonably during the demonstration as follows: to assist in the proper conduct of any special event by directing the routes of such event to prevent obstruction of pedestrian or vehicle traffic, to disperse crowds at any special event where he has reasonable grounds to believe that there is a breach of the peace or is likely to occur, or a breach of the peace has occurred or is occurring in order to prevent violence. And also, police may cause to be closed such streets or part of the pedestrian to the pedestrians or vehicular traffic, or both, in such a way that they can ensure that the right thing is done, or to restore peace, public order, and to prevent violence. May cause to be closed such streets. Now, the Ghana Police Service wishes to assure the public that it has put in place sufficient security measures to maintain law and order and ensure peace and security during the demonstration. So this is the latest development of a group seeking, among other things, to demonstrate for 3 clear days. This group is called Concerned Citizens Against Galamsey. This is from tomorrow till tomorrow is Saturday. Yes, till Saturday, yes. For the next 3 days, they'll be doing a demonstration. You do recall that there was a similar one. Some of them are already in court. And that brings me to the point. Are these demonstrations relevant, important part of the protest and the quest to get our water bodies clean, and also to make sure that we rid ourselves of illegal mining, Prof?
Very, very relevant.
I know there are lawful means of engaging.
Yes, exactly.
There are constitutional means
and
of
that's
engaging.
why I'm happy about this. I think both sides are following the law the police have laid out. They've given them the routes, and they are going to provide protection for them as demonstrators, as well as pedestrians and other road users. So I think that's the civilized way to do it. And interestingly, this is about the 3rd major demonstration in recent times.
Yeah.
Then DC did a nationwide demonstration with little or no difficulty, nationwide, okay? And I think that was commendable. The latest one is where perhaps we are referring to those who are arrested and all. Yeah. I think even that one has gone well until they came to a point where they decided to go a little bit out of the law. And I think the consequences are what we are seeing. I know people who are arguing strenuously that even if they breach the law, the cause for which they are fighting is greater than. I disagree with that. We, as a people, must respect law and ensure that there's rule of law. But their demonstration, the purpose was superb, and we're all behind them. So this 3rd one coming tomorrow, I'm hoping and praying that they will do as the NDC did and conduct themselves well. Look, if I had legs, I had time, I wouldn't mind being part of it, because this issue, as I say, is a national issue. You can't close your eyes to this. All the pictures coming almost every day on social media, private individuals conveying messages through video and all. It tells you the seriousness of it. That is why I'm particularly at a loss that government response has been almost lethargic. We don't hear anything. And in fact, sadly, some members of the president's party are even having the courage to make certain statements that I wouldn't like to repeat here in terms of retaining Galamsey. Yeah. You know, of course, in every society, you may have some deviants. I mean, the popular ones will be there, deviants will be there. So I'm not surprised by that. But I think those who are elected to serve us, they have a special responsibility. Maybe you don't understand what elections means. I've given you my sovereignty.
Yeah, a mandate.
A mandate that you, that's why, you see, a president of this country is one of the most powerful people in the world.
Yes.
Because everything is vested in the president. Do you know the constitution that he quoted from says that? Every mineral on the ground,
everything,
is the president who has to control it. Everything is for the president. It's an awesome responsibility. And you are doing that on behalf of the people. That's what democracy is all about. So if you are doing something on behalf of the people, it means the people's interest as expressed through popular means. Election elects leaders. This is an issue, we haven't had an election on it, but just following the social media and the news and public statements is a popular one. So the government has an obligation to respond and respond positively. Yeah. Engage. Let us know where you stand. And even if you don't want to take serious actions at the moment, let us see what you have on the ground.
At least the president has made two major outings at the Ghana Bar Association event, where he chose to address the free teachers comment and ignore the part of the Bar Association president comment on illegal mining. And more recently, at the GJ Awards, where the president of the GJ reiterated some of these issues, the president did not again address the matter. What signals does it send, Prof?
Very wrong signals. I do not know. I have no evidence showing that the president himself was directly involved. There's no evidence to that. But there are stories about people in his government, as well as in the opposition party, who are involved. They are complicit. And I think the political elite here is failing us. I have said previously that we can't allow such parochial interest to undermine the national interest. It's as simple as that. So I think if you're a leader, you always look at the national interest and weigh it against other minor interests before you make a decision. And in this case, there's every evidence that this case is threatening the nation. In fact, people are calling it an existential threat because we can't do without water as a country. We can't do without our forest as a country. These are God-given things. And if we scrape everything off, the next generation and subsequent generation, where will they be? You know, for me, that is a concern any leader must have to be a true leader of the people.
Mr. Game,
as far as I'm concerned,
more protests on the horizon, reaction from state.
Yeah, I mean, I only pray that the police will be professionally skillful in ensuring that they can deploy other strategies to ensure that this thing goes through successfully. They should not they should not bring themselves into the forefront as if they want to provoke during the, they're also human beings. They get tired sometimes, but they should not do it. Now, my concern immediately is that leadership is at stake now. If there are people from any other political party and they are involved in Galamsey, I challenge the government today to have them arrested tomorrow morning and sent to court. Because you know them. Talking about it casually is not enough. Yeah. If one person, two people in the NDC in particular, and any other political party is involved in Galamsey, the person should be arrested tomorrow morning and sent to the appropriate place. And they should not grant them even bail, if that is the case. Because Galamsey is a dangerous thing to be embraced. And then the last point I want to stress on is this. There's a difference, a huge world of a difference between talking about politics. Politics is about making decisions. People who are elected, they must make decisions for and on behalf of the people who elected you. You cease even to belong to, you cease once in office as president and a minister of state, you don't have anything directly to do with your own political party that serve as a vehicle taking you there. Parliamentarians can deal with the issues, even that from a nationalistic point of view is very, very important. And I want to say that it's important that when we must differentiate between partisan politics, like we are doing now. If you are doing partisan politics, which is NDC, MPP, UPFront, and the rest, going into the, the street to go and campaign to be elected, go ahead and do it. But when it comes to politics, it's about making decisions for and on behalf of people. And they must take notice of that. I'll give you an example. 1994, late Dr. Kwesi Boche brought budget to Parliament. NDC was virtually 98% in Parliament then. We stopped the budget from being approved.
Oh, really?
Yes.
The same part?
I led it. Yeah. Myself, I said, we led it. We stopped it. But at that time, we don't have that kind of free fall type of petroleum increase by heart. Mm-hmm. You have to bring your decision to Parliament to be approved. He brought it, we jettisoned it, threw it away. And then VAT. Before Nana Akufo-Addo and the rest led Kumi Preku, I moved the motion, and we said they should suspend the VAT until we educate the public. Because it was brought there, I was a member of Parliament at the time, and it was brought there, we didn't even know, we ourselves didn't know much about it. My friend, we will not pay this tax. Hold it. Then we realized that they were also organizing people to demonstrate. I thought it was a good thing. All I want to draw attention to is that members of Parliament, even though they are there in a vehicle of a political party, there come a time when the nation is at stake, like this one. Water bodies is not for MPP, it's not for NDC. When you fetch your water, you don't fetch MPP color, you don't fetch NDC color. You are fetching your own, you are dead. You are dead in advance. So we should stop doing this evil thing ourselves. Look, if you want to die early, you will die early. And that's what we want to do. We should not be foolish.
Now, I'll take final words from you, but on this point about the call from the Attorney General charging the Chief Justice to direct judges to conclude Galamsey cases within 1 month. Because...
1 month?
Yes, within 1 month. Because organized labor said they wanted specialized courts. And that was the call given at the Association of Magistrates and Judges of Ghana gathering. Prof, step in the right direction. Speedy trial.
This should have been done a year or two ago.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not even sure if the Attorney General can direct the Chief Justice. Mm-hmm. I'm not a lawyer. I know nothing about it.
Yes.
Not directing. Okay. You can't. Even the calling on should be a special way of calling, not publicly behaving as if you are directing the Chief Justice. Mm. So that is wrong in my opinion, though I'm not a lawyer. But the issue is that all of them have been playing around Galamsey issues. Mm. Why is it now that the Attorney General all of a sudden realizes that about 148 cases that have not been tried for the past year or two? How? So maybe the point I made earlier about this over-centralization is what is killing us. Mm. You see? So if he's making that point, maybe it's coming too late, but better late than never. And I'm hoping that that institution will find a way to quickly address this. Because, look, that's an injustice to those who are being put on this banner for all this while waiting for trial in a year. And it cuts across, by the way. It's not only in this case. A lot of people wait in line for years for petty things that the court could have settled in a matter of a day or two.
Gentlemen, I'm grateful.
Thank you.
I'm very grateful for your time this evening. I'll sure be calling on you to speak more on these matters, since you are the same voices in society that are mostly required to speak truth to power at these times. And many thanks to you also out there for joining us on today's edition of UPFront.